Today we're being joined by WAFLW Claremont player Jayme Harken. Jayme, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cooper.
No worries. So tell us a bit about yourself. What got you into footy and what type of player you are?
Yeah, so I was originally a netballer, did footy and netball for a few years, but I think, moving to Perth, the opportunity just came about. I thought I was at the sort of end of my netball career and wanted to give it a crack, and women's footy was getting really big at that time. So I hadn't done it beforehand, but always been a crazy footy fan. Type of player, I just, in and under, love the challenge and the contest as well. So
we'll start with one of the biggest questions of this episode. How many times do you get your name spelt incorrectly, both first and last name, or even pronunciations even?
Yeah, it's probably, definitely spelling, but pronunciation's the worst is when I get Jane, and there's no N in it. A lot of variations that I get all the time. Very used to it.
That's fair. I mean, do you get to a point now where it is annoying and probably maybe sometimes still is, but now you just kind of go, whatever now, because it just keeps happening?
Yeah. If people have a crack, that's all good.
Very true. Now, you had a big game yesterday in the WAFLW All-Stars versus under-18 sides game. How did you go in that game yourself, you feel personally, and how was the whole game itself and the end result?
Myself, not too bad. It's very different coming in. We haven't trained together, and the 18s have for a few months, so it's a bit of fun playing with your opponents, which are going to be your opponents in the next couple of weeks. Really exciting. The 18s clearly had so much connection and a lot of pace as well, and it was really, really enjoyable to go up against them. And they beat us by a few goals, which stings a bit, but it was a lot of fun, and grateful for the opportunity.
Sure. Now, obviously from that individual and the team that you were part of, obviously it's disappointing to lose, but it's also a real positive for future WAFLW girls and under 18 level girls who are going to end up being, almost most of them would be in the AFLW in the next couple of years or longer. How proud are you from the other side for them to see how strong they are against you guys that have been at that level before and experienced? If they can beat you, that they've got bright futures ahead of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the great thing about the All-Stars team is we had so many girls playing in the All-Stars this year that were playing with the 18s last year. So it's really, really great. Obviously, I was on the older end, but it was great to see those kids coming through and just getting better and better each time.
For sure. Obviously in your own side, I believe there was a few ex-AFLW players are in there as well.
Yeah, a few girls come back, which is really great. And I think really important for the 18s as well to understand that there are players that have been at that level and they're not far off it, and they're probably at that point now, which is really great.
Did you feel like there was any standouts in the game from either team that you feel had a strong performance?
It was actually one of those games where I think there was contributors across the ground, across all lines, both teams. So I think it was very even match for me. Okay,
that's all right. Do you recall who you had to match up on?
I swung between midfield and forward. When I was in the mid, I ended up on Zippy Fish a lot. And when I went forward, I think Dakota Sexton lined up on me a little bit. It was we had about 10 on the bench, so there wasn't much game time. It was sort of had a crack and come off. So
that's fair enough. Just one word on Zippy too, or a few words on Zippy. Obviously, someone that's going to be a top draft pick this year, and obviously then you said having a match up on her. What was that like? And obviously she's going to be one of the top draft picks in the AFLW draft at the end of the year.
Everyone knows how great Zippy is, and she just gets better and better. She's not just quick, as everyone knows. She took a great mark, and I even put my knee in her back, and she still took a great mark yesterday. She's agile, she's quick, and really exciting to watch. And I think as well, like so many of the girls, as I mentioned, got that pace behind as well, but the skill as well. Like Zippy's got great skill too. So
obviously playing at Claremont, how's your time been at Claremont? How many years have you been at Claremont?
Coming into my second season at Claremont, so I was 5 years at Subi, and now my second year at Claremont. But absolutely loving it. Great bunch of girls, and obviously super strong group. And I think we just get better and better because we keep challenging ourselves, which is really, really great.
So what are some goals you set for yourself personally this year, heading into first few years at Claremont, and obviously for the team overall as well?
Yeah, well, team goal is pretty clear. We want to be the best, so we want to win a championship. And then personally for me, just contributing to that, and I think just building and getting better each year. I just want to enjoy my footy, but also make sure that I'm achieving that goal of getting better and learning and stepping up each week.
Yeah, obviously you've been at any level, you've been a part of 3 grand finals, unfortunately on the wrong side of all 3, but how was the experience to play in at any level to play in grand finals? And just really, was it, I suppose that they're not really memorable in terms of the margin, but like in terms of the occasion, how were all 3 of them?
Yeah, it's really funny. I've nearly played in one in nearly every second year. So my first year of football, I'm playing in a grand final, 2 years later, and then 3 years after that. So, it is a huge experience. And they say the cliche that, it just ramps up in finals footy, but it definitely does. And I think the most important and the biggest lesson from that day, I've been on probably most years the side that's the favourite. It doesn't matter on the day. You've got to show up on the day as well, and that's been my biggest learning in grand finals. But very grateful for those opportunities. Just want to win one, be on the right side of it.
For sure. Now, obviously, you've been a train-on at times with the Eagles AFLW side. So how's that experience been from you? And you get to train with the best of the best as well.
Yeah, really love it. And I think obviously we're there to help ourselves, but mainly to help those girls. Do better and better. Obviously, there are girls that aren't picked each week, and helping those girls. But love my time there. The extra challenge to step up in that environment is just so great to see, and just simple drills can be so intense at that level, and just the skill, the pace, everything. It's really great. I'm so grateful for those opportunities, and obviously that's where I want to be. I've loved my time being trained on there, and hopefully one day get to be there.
So what year was the first year that you were trained on there?
Great question. 2020, which was a pretty hard one. I went in for a couple of sessions, and then they went away for a hub, and then last year as well. So have been. There's a lot of girls that are obviously still there, but there's been a lot of change too, and played with most of the girls, with or against most of the girls that are there, because I've got a great pool of WA talent. Two opportunities at that.
That's good. So obviously 3 years between being a train-on. So how was the first time you got asked to be a trainer? How did you react to it compared to the second time round when there was a few years gap in between to go back there 2023?
Yeah, so 2020 was a funny one. It was I was asked to play in their intra-club. So they needed more numbers there, and then got asked to stay on. So got a call from Jordan Loxley, their talent manager, and was stoked for the opportunity. It was I think it clashed with one of our at the time Subi intra clubs, and obviously you want to be contributing to Subi, but you don't pass up those opportunities. And so got to play in the intra club and did a few training sessions after that before they went away and no one knew what was going on. So that was a really exciting time, and I think it was this year was a little bit late as well. So they had a couple of train-ons already in there, and then again needed more numbers for the intra club and stayed on as a train-on, and obviously had a lot more time this year throughout the season. Went to their sessions, really loved it.
That's good. So who were some players at the Eagles that you feel like, they're all impressive when you watch them from afar, but like you knew they were good, but then you go in there, gee, they're actually better than I thought, or they're just extremely talented and you just knew that already?
Yeah, I think in the intra club, I'd played. I've seen a go through WAFLW, but Ella Roberts is an obvious one that growth throughout WAFLW. Played against her a few times, and then in the intra club, I think I got stepped by her, and just that's where I reminded myself, that she's just grown so much and just gets better and better. And I think the other obvious one is Emma Swanson. Just her leadership, seeing it in the play, was really amazing, and probably one player who I've never played against in WAFLW because she hasn't been there for a very long time. But her leadership, her skill, the intensity, and all the girls, the level they train at and play at is really admirable.
Now, one word or a few words on Ella Roberts too, as well. Obviously, someone who will. I mean, you say what she did to you at the trainings and that, but she's one of the top players of the competition already at a young age. Obviously, was in the contention for Rising Star this year, and she's shown her versatility as well, because that is important at any level of any sport these days, being versatile, especially in footy. And she can play out forward, play out back, pinch in the midfield. So she's got all the talents and could be a future star of the competition if she's not already.
Yeah, no, she it's really a lot of the time it's fun to watch on the other side. Play against her, because then she, it's that extra challenge. But she is very exciting and is only going to get better and better.
Sure. Who did you? Obviously, 2 years of being in training, so were you able to form some good friendships? Obviously, playing against some of those girls in WAFLW as well, but also while you were there to build some good connections with them, and now still to this day you have some form of a connection with.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as I mentioned, I already had a connection with a lot before then. And then each year, girls get drafted every year, and you have that connection formed already. But there's a great bunch of girls in there that I definitely would say hello if I walk past and have a good conversation with. So there's a heap of them.
Good. So what would you say are some of your biggest strengths as a footballer?
Probably, as I mentioned before, the contested footy. So I think at ground level is huge for me, and I'll probably overuse it, but my ability to find people with their hands as well is a big one. And I think it's not displayed as much, but I think I've got a pretty strong mark as well.
Nice. Very good. What are some fun facts about you so some people may not know about you?
I grew up in the wheat belts on a farm. Moved to Perth when I was 15. That's probably a big one. And I'll get in trouble if I don't say this, but I'm black belt in karate. So I've represented Australia in karate overseas, which is pretty cool. Did that up until 23 or 24.
Nice. So, in other words, don't mess with Jayme or you're screwed.
I don't often tell people about the black belt because I get that obvious answer, but yeah.
That's true. If anyone pisses you off, just bring out the belt or just say it and go, I've got this, watch out. And then see how quickly they may back away. Who loves the limelight, the attention, the camera at Claremont, and they can't get enough of it, and they know exactly what to do when there's a camera around, or they just know the right time when a camera's coming out around?
Oh, that's a tough one. We've got some absolute characters at Claremont, but I don't reckon if there was a camera, they'd probably shy away. But maybe like M. Bonza, Adele Arnott, they love a good chat. Adele Arnott would tell you that she's a terrible public speaker, but she can speak very well when the camera's not in front of her. So those two are a couple of characters.
Good. Leadership. Has leadership ever been anything you've ever been a part of in form, even if that's in a leadership group or just been like an off-title leader, I'd call it? Is that something you've ever been in, and is it something, if you haven't, that you want to be in?
Yeah, I have been. So since probably around 2020, in a leadership group then, and then I was vice captain at Subi for a couple of years there. And same thing last year with Claremont in the leadership group, and I'm vice captain this year. So, it's something that I don't go out of my way to strive for. I just like to be me. And I think then it naturally comes through as well. But, just very much a lead by example. And when those opportunities come my way, very grateful that, the girls see me that way.
That's good. So obviously I know there's still a captain, obviously there's a coach, but if a player was to come to you with some advice, say something about they're struggling with their game or some things they need to work on, what advice would you give someone in that position to try and get out of that form slump or whatever it is?
Yeah, obviously very dependent on what it is, but I think the biggest message would be around taking up opportunities and putting in the hard work as well. Very much have always been in any of my sport about putting in the hard work, and you'll reap the rewards. And sometimes it's not always the rewards that you're aiming for, but it's the small steps along the way. So just really putting in the hard yards and getting the rewards would be a big one.
That's good. Have you always also been a vice captain? What's some advice you give to some players, not just what we just talked about then, but just in general life advice or anyone that just needs it, are you one to give out advice to people, even if like voluntarily, or are you more someone that if it comes to you, if they come to you?
Yeah, I've it's been something I've been working on with my leadership, but very much like to check in with people and see how they're going. I think just generally in life, people don't do it enough, and we get very busy with our own lives. And I think just checking in on people is a big one for me, and just seeing where they're at, having a conversation, and that can make someone's day. It can, you can find out that someone's not doing so great, and then help them out. So I think just forming connection with people and relationships is really huge.
So, any nicknames? We were just talking before about name pronunciation and spelling. Is there any nicknames you get that you like or dislike that you get?
Yeah, people haven't been so creative, but the first one I got and it's sort of stuck everywhere I've gone is Jayme. So just Jayme Private School Girl. So I've just Jayme is the one for people. When I first walked into Subi, one of the girls there straight away copped that one. I haven't even seen the series, so that's the big one for me.
Any outside of footy interest that you had? Obviously, you mentioned black belt and karate. Is there outside of that as well? Is there anything, any outside interest that you have?
I quite often say I'm quite boring because I it's just all sport for me. So I'd be without it. But yeah, love watching any sport really. Footy, cricket. Obviously came from netball. So just going to events and watching the footy events. I've obviously in Perth had the opportunity to watch some of the World Cup for the soccer, which was really great, and then recently went to the rugby sevens and just learning about new sports. So that's a big one for me. And I also like a bit of cooking as well.
Very nice. So now we'll go to cooking then, because I did have this on here. So any favourite foods?
Favourite foods. I mean, chocolate's easy.
Yes.
Easy to in there. In terms, I reckon I'll go to meals, and then I love a good roast dinner.
Okay.
The only positive about though is having a roast.
Good one. Favorite dish to cook?
I have carried on Dad's recipe of spaghetti, so I get that requested from my partner all the time. Pre-game, we have spaghetti. So
Nice and an original one, but a good one.
Yeah.
Food you don't like?
I joked that I was allergic to prawns because I hate prawns. So that I'll go with the prawns.
Good one. I can't. I know people that like it, but I can't like that either. So, where was I? Favorite TV shows and movies?
Currently rewatching Wentworth. But Schitt's Creek, Parks and Rec is a good one. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, those series, Friends. Play them. I'm not good at starting new series. So.
Fair enough. So you'll be one that watches shows, no matter what, or movies, whatever, over and over again, no matter you know the scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, because I thought I'd be one of only a few to do that. But last week I've heard about 5 people say that, so I'm glad that you've continued that trend for me. Make me feel better now. Not being the only one or not the only one, but one of the few to only do that. What do you feel is the best individual game you've ever position where you are now?
Sorry, you just cut out then.
That's all right. What do you feel is one of the best individual games you've played in to get you into the position that you're in now?
Oh, that's tough. I think no specific games, but I just think that generally, like, I've grown year on year, which has been a really positive thing. So I've taken things on board and gone away and worked on them and grown through that. So I think year on year getting better, and that's obviously something I strive to do as well. Obviously, you have those off games, but generally being a bit more consistent. Sorry, my dog's just down here.
Ah, you're all right. All good. All good. Actually, I did a dog king challenge with someone yesterday, and they brought their dog with me, so that wouldn't be the only first dog feature.
I saw that. Yeah. I live here, and yeah.
And Lee Morris, that's it. Yes. An interesting result. I might have done a ride in that one.
Ah.
Well, that's a tease, maybe. Maybe I'm lying. What do you feel is best goal you've ever kicked at any level? It can be. It doesn't even have to be in a game. It could just be a training or having a kick with someone. What's the best goal you've ever kicked?
There is one that comes to mind when we were playing in the scrimmages as a train-on with Eagles. It's just one that's fresh in my mind. I kicked a right foot drop punt from the pocket about 40 minutes out, which is
wow.
Yeah, in the right pocket. So I don't know where it came from because I don't have a big boot and I'm not normally a good shot at goal, but a couple of steps. Yeah, I didn't even know it went in. So.
And what makes that more impressive is you've actually done that against the people really that you're trying to impress the most, and that's the Eagles coaching stuff and recruiting stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was actually a 4-team scrimmage because Eagles and Dockers were both at home, so it was Hawthorn, Carlton, Eagles, and Freos.
Well, more than one club, then even better.
Yeah.
Goal or mark of the year, which one would you rather do and why?
Oh, I'm going to say I think. Tough one. I'll say mark of the year because I've got a good jump, but I never use it. And I think mark of the year is normally like something very, something no one's ever seen and people just get better and better at it. So mark of the year, I reckon. If you're known for hops, that would be great.
True. I mean, you can't go wrong either way. I choose a goal just because I love goals, and when I used to play, I played as a forward. But yeah, for Mark, I suppose at least if it's captured on film or if there's a photographer there or just some randoms filming it or taking photos, you could get a good profile picture out of it.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Can make it more memorable.
That too. But then again, with a goal, you can give it on film and post it same way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
What's something someone does at the club that you cannot stand?
Oh, last year the gritty, do a gritty. I didn't know what it was, and it just cringe every time. So a few of the young girls mentioning that, and I had no idea what was going on. So I'll go with that.
And yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. Who'd you start barracking for?
Eagles, yeah.
Eagles. So, okay, well, this adds on to the train-on part then. How special was it to not only get asked by an AFLW club, but then also to do it for the club that you grew up barracking for? And, at that time, obviously, some players that you probably, when the competition started, that you were big fans of and you got to train with in that time.
Yeah, it was really special. And sometimes you go, pinch yourself and remind yourself where you're at with your sport. It's very cool, and obviously so many people see where I am, let alone at AFLW level. But very special. And I think as I mentioned, when I first learned that girls could play footy in the wheat belt, they still unfortunately don't have a competition. So when I learned I could play footy, it was really exciting. So being able to train on with Eagles is pretty special and put on the blue and gold. So.
Nice to see Daisy Pearce join the club and the coach as the new coach. Yeah,
very cool. And then yesterday at the All-Stars game, having her walking around was pretty surreal. It was very cool.
That is very good. Best chatterbox at the club at Subi. Not Subi, at Claremont, sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm gonna go Delana. Yeah, she loves a chat.
That's good. All right. A teammate or teammates, if you're stuck on a desert island with teammates, who would you want to bring and not want to bring, and why?
Oh, I'd like to bring. I need someone that's handy. Tess Blackburn, I reckon, camps a lot. She'd be handy. Got a few close friends, but they're going to be upset that I don't mention them. I'm not even going to mention my partner, which is bad. I'm going to go for laughs, maybe an Eva Campo.
Yep.
And I'll go one more. Gonna go Jade Masika from Rogers. I think, bit of banter. Probably not for the smarts, but just for a bit of fun as well.
What I found funny then, I don't know if it's just coincidental timing, but when you said about your close friends and partner, if they'd be a bit annoyed if you didn't mention them. The dog barked as soon as you said, it's like it knew what you said, saying, you got to talk about, mention me.
Yeah, she probably can hear me as well. And yeah, I'd like to bring my dog actually. Tilly can come.
Very good. What's I know everybody said that. Toughest opponent you've ever had to match up, and obviously you played in the All Stars matches a few times, as you mentioned. You've been a train on, you've played in WAFLW for a while. So who was one of the toughest opponents you've had to match up on?
I'll go, I reckon, just where I was at with my footy at the time. I've played on her since, and obviously I've grown, but my first year playing footy at Subi, I was playing league and I was at Tagger, and I played on Gabby O'Sullivan, and she her ability to go forward, mid and back, like just to cover the whole ground, was eye-opening for me, and I've played on her since, and I've definitely improved my game. But yeah, initially when I played on her, yeah, she taught me a thing or two about footy at that time.
So it's gone from 1-0 to a bit even now.
Yeah, I reckon.
Good. On all. Where was I? If you ever had, I'm sure you have since you mentioned a few, but is there any AFL or AFLW player interactions you've had as a fan, and any of them memorable?
Yeah, Kiara Bowers, so Turbo, used to play for Coastal Titans, which is what Subi was beforehand. And my first few years, she'd come down and help out a little bit. So yeah, that was very cool meeting Turbo, and yeah, say hello and have a conversation with her now. Yeah, I know her quite well, but yeah, that was very cool getting tips from the best of the best.
Sure. Definitely is. Who are some teammates you feel like are a bit underrated at Claremont that kind of fly under the radar a little bit and don't get talked about as much as they probably should?
Yeah, probably starting to be spoken about now, but Jacinta Valentini, and a close friend of mine as well, so she'll like the shout out. But her skill and ability to read the play, sometimes I feel like she's 2 or 3 steps ahead of the next person. And Claire, my partner, will get a shout out now, but Claire Ortlip and Rachel Ortlip, they've been around the traps for a very long time, and I think people just go, oh, they're just going to do what they do, but probably not enough recognition for how skillful and how well they read the play as well.
Sure. Obviously, defenders, I feel like they deserve a bit more love, and they don't really get it as much. Obviously, midfielders, the Brownlow and the Rucks are starting to get recognised in Brownlow these in both competitions. And obviously, the Coleman's directed towards forwards, as you know. So, defenders, do they need their own official title? I hear some people mainly say they do, but the people that say they don't, they feel like they get recognised internally at their club. Well, that might be true, but I'm more talking from a public point of view. That's more inside.
Yeah, and I can proudly fly the flag for the back. So I did play back for 2 years at Subi. But yes, I agree. They do get recognition internally, and I think the way the club voting systems work these days, they get recognition. And Claire won best and fairest at Claremont last year. A couple of one the year before, they had a back win as well. But no, I do agree that they need an external award, and whether it's the Golden Fist or whatever it is, definitely an award for the backies.
Sure, no, I love that name, Golden Fist. The late Danny Frawley made that on Bounce and Fox, and I mean it's a good name, and I love. I mean, yes, it was kind of a piss take, but it actually would be something very fitting and to honour him as well. And it's a segment they obviously still use. I just love the actual not a medal, but the trophy they use, and they click the button and scream bang, and it actually pops out when it's not broken. But that'd be a great name, and it does actually fit the defenders because that's what they do. They spoil and everything else.
Yeah.
Sure. Some of your most prized possessions.
I don't have possession, but yeah, Tilly, my dog, she's 10 months old and she's a menace, but I love her. I'm quite nostalgic, so I'll go like my photo albums and photo books. I love looking back previous years, so I'll go with that.
No, that's a good one as well. And one of the first times I've heard that, but that is definitely a good one. Loudest and quietest teammates.
Well, Adele gets a few shout outs, but Adele will be the loudest. We had after losing the grand final last year, went back to the club, and she was on the mic, which was actually connected to the ground outside, and everyone at the apartments at Claremont, someone filmed it, and she was on the big microphone outside. So I'll go Adele for loudest, and quietest I'll go Jess Ritchie. She's come over to Claremont, and good friend of mine, but Richo's doesn't say much, and yeah, pretty quiet, but good value still.
Adele's been stitched up as well with that being played outside.
Oh yeah, yes.
Big time. I got a few more for you, Jay. So real pleasure coming on. Jayme, now I'm butchering things. Now apologies.
Oh, good.
Slip. Now I'm throwing myself off. Favorite takeaway place?
I love Mexican, so I'm going to go with GYG, Guzman Gomez.
I don't know how many Perth people had on the last 2 weeks. That seems to be the front runner, and I'm actually surprised.
Oh, right. You've got GYG in Melbourne?
No, I don't think so. No. Maybe I've only started hearing about it lately, so no. Probably. I don't know. I don't know. No, that's first. I've heard it recently. Anyway, sound like an idiot. Some quirks you have that you may not like to admit that people would say that you have.
Trying to think. People probably say I'm quite chatty, which is unusual. Like, yeah, I grew up a very quiet kid, but I reckon I like to throw a joke, a bit of sarcasm here and there. So bit of chat and jokes every now and then. Yeah.
That's good. Celebrity crush.
For the music, I am in love with G-Flip. They are, they came over to Perth recently, and big fan, and obviously AFLW ambassador as well. So yeah, G-Flip.
Richard, one more for you, Jayme. So real pleasure coming on. How would you fancy yourself? Well, actually, two more. How would you fancy yourself in front of the goals?
I'm getting better. I used to shy away from pressure moments, but I set shots recently, so I'd go on more of a 70-30 rather than a 50-50, I reckon.
But I mean, after you just did what you described before at the Eagles training, at the Eagle event with the 40 metres on the boundary, I mean, is that actually when the confidence went up, or was it no different when that happened? After that happened?
I mean, it does help. It reminds me that I can have a shot at goal. I didn't have much thinking required there, though. It's the set shots that the pressure situations used to get to me, but I've had a few more of those. So
that's fair. Last one, pressure coming on. So, dream scenario for your football season this year?
Dream scenario would be win a premiership for Claremont, late call up in AFLW, play a season at AFLW. Win a premiership there. That would be 2 premierships in a year. That would be dream. I'd love to do that.
Very good. Let's hopefully, for a positive reason, remove the Train On name and make it an official play name, and then I can change that banner too. So Jayme, a real pleasure coming on. It's not Jade, it's Jayme. Jayme, a real pleasure coming on. All the best for the rest of the year at Claremont, and hopefully eventually at an AFLW club. Pleasure coming on. And also too, age is just a number, and people these days can come in at any age at all. You don't have to be 18, 19 like the draftees are. You could be mid-20s or even around 30 and still get in. So appreciate coming on.
Easy. Thanks so much, Cooper.